All right, guys, this is Jesse with the Common Man, Corpus Christi. We're back here with another candidate. This is John Martinez. He's running for city council at large. I'm going to turn it over to John and let him talk directly to you. John?
Thank you, Jesse. My name is John Martinez, and as Jesse said, I'm running for city council at large. The at-large position is a position that represents the entire city of Corpus Christi. The way city council is set up is that there are 5 districts and there are 3 at-large members. The districts represent certain areas of the city, while at-large represents the entire city. In this race, the at-large race is different than the district races, because in the district races you have one representative that gets elected to it. So whoever that one representative is that wins the election gets in. In an at-large race, the top 3 vote getters are the ones who get elected to the position. So you need to be in the top 3 to be elected to one of the at-large positions. And generally there's no runoff. So the people that get elected on November 3rd, the top 3 will be the ones that serve as the city council at-large members. It seems like having 3 get in would be an easier race, but what you see in a lot of these races is that the at-large draws many more people to run for those 3 spots. In our race in particular, we have 13 candidates that are running for these 3 at-large spots. So it's important that you know who the candidates are and kind of what they bring to the table for the city of Corpus Christi. I am, like I said, John Martinez. I'm a lifelong resident of Corpus Christi. I was born and raised here. I went to my undergraduate college at Texas A&M University in College Station, and then I went to Baylor University for law school. After law school, I returned home to begin my law practice. I met my wife, Stephanie, here. She is also a lifelong resident of Corpus Christi. She went to King High School. I went to Carroll High School, so we had a little bit of a rivalry there, but we've come together since then. And Corpus, Corpus is a place that I always wanted to return to, and the reason I did was because of my family. I have a very large family in the area. My father had 6 brothers and sisters, and it seems like it was hundreds of cousins that we had during family reunions and holidays, and everybody was in Corpus Christi. And to me, the family aspect was very important. But coming back, you would see a lot of people that I went to high school with or that I knew early on in my career that chose not to come back to Corpus Christi. And when I started getting into it, you realize that the reason people weren't coming back here was because there wasn't a lot of opportunity for young people to come back. There wasn't a lot of good paying jobs for young professionals. And so it was hard for people to make that move back. I was lucky that I was able to find a good job where I could, and the family kind of overrode everything. That was the primary importance to me, and that's how I got back here. And seeing that early on, it made me want to do something to try to change that, to try to make it more desirable for people to want to be back here. And not just be back because of their families, but be back here because there is a good opportunity for them to make a good living, and to have a good life. And things haven't changed. This is 20 years ago, and during that time, there have been some more opportunities that have arisen, but overall, still, it's a hard place for young professionals or for other professionals to come and really make a good living. And I don't want to say that they can't make a good living, because there are opportunities here, there are jobs here, but what I found is that you could have the same job in Houston that pays significantly more money than what it pays in Corpus Christi. And that's a problem. That's hard to compete with, because if you don't have family or something bringing you back here, then it's hard to ignore those other things that you get. And it's not just the pay, it's the lifestyle, the entertainment, the things to do, the places to go. These were things that we've been lacking for a long time. And if we want our kids to come back here and raise their families and be with grandma and grandpa, and mom and dad, then we have to give them those choices and give them those opportunities so that Corpus Christi is an option, because for many people it's not an option. They don't have the luxury of being able to come down here and making less than they would make in San Antonio or somewhere else. So we have to make that an option. We have to bring the jobs, bring the industry, bring the entertainment venues, bring the things that the younger people want to come see, but also the older people want to have as well. It's quality of life. That's the main thing that we want in our community. We want good quality of life. We want to be able to work a good day's work, but when we come home, we want to have nice restaurants to go to. We want to have places where we can go and listen to concerts or go dancing or see theater. We want to have different opportunities to do things, and that's what gives us a better quality of life. That's the living part, right? That's not the work part. That's the living part. And we want to live well. We want to be able to do things so that after work, after a long day's work or a long week's worth of work, we have something to do on the weekend. We don't have to go up to San Antonio to do some of these things or go up to Houston. We can do them here at home. And that's what we want to do. We want to have those opportunities for our kids so that they come back to Corpus and make Corpus even stronger. And as an elected city councilman, that will be one of my top priorities, is to give Corpus Christi the things that we need to be able to give us that quality of life and give our kids the opportunities that we haven't had here in the past. And it's a lot of things. There's a lot that needs to be done. When I first got into politics 10 years ago, the issues that we talked about are the same issues that we talk about today. Infrastructure, roads, things like that. We can't put those things on the back burner or just have temporary fixes for them. We need to come up with long-term solutions to these problems so that we're not just putting Band-Aids on them every couple of years and having bigger problems that arise. These are problems that have to be addressed by the council members now. And it's hard. It's hard to do because these things cost money, they take time, they're not easy solutions. We need to be willing to work on the hard solutions and do the hard things, because if we don't do it, that's going to be another problem that our kids are going to have to face when they come back and are dealing with the issues in Corpus Christi. So I'm ready to come in. I'm ready to fight for what we need, and I'm ready to do the right things, and I'm ready to do it for the right reasons. I'm not here so that I can make money from being a councilman or anything like that. It's not about that. It's about doing the right thing for the right reasons, and that's what I plan to do. I was elected judge in 2006, and I served in that position for 5 years. I learned a lot being a judge. I learned a lot of perspectives on the mental health issues that we have here in Nueces County as I handled mental health court, on the criminal element that we're dealing with in Nueces County, because I also served as a misdemeanor criminal court judge. I currently serve on the Nueces County Hospital District, which gives me another perspective into the mental health problems that we have and the problems that we have serving our indigent in the city, as well as other healthcare issues that we have. I served on the Corpus Christi Crime Control and Prevention District, which gave me another perspective on what the police officers are facing in our community, the lack of support and equipment that they have, the lack of men that they have. I've served in many different capacities in many areas that have given me a perspective that many or none of the other candidates have. And I will use those perspectives and that knowledge that I have gained to bring the city together to come up with solutions. And they're not easy solutions, but with the background that I have in all these different areas, I know that I can bring the different aspects of the community together to come up with solutions. So on November 3rd, I would ask for your vote. Early voting starts October 13th, which is a little different than it's been in the past. In the past, early voting has been limited to 2 weeks with one weekend. But because of COVID and some other things, it's been extended. So it's almost 3 weeks, but it includes 2 full weekends of early voting. And so I would encourage everybody to take that opportunity to go and early vote so that you don't have to deal with the long lines of people, potentially on election day, which could increase exposure for COVID. I would encourage you to take advantage of the early voting. Very soon, the early voting locations will be out if they're not already. Take a look at that list. You can usually find it on the county clerk's website. I will keep it posted on my website as well as on Facebook. I'll be posting that if that comes up. Also, if you're over 65, you're entitled to do a mail-in ballot. So you may request that mail-in ballot. If you've done that, or if you do that, you should be getting it in the next week or two. And you can start putting the ballots in the box. So if you're concerned about COVID and exposure and you meet the criteria for a mail-in ballot, please don't hesitate to request that mail-in ballot and take advantage of that, because it is available. And with everything that's going on, you want to make sure that you get it in early so that there's no question about processing or about it getting to the right place and in the right time. So if there are any questions or anything that anybody has, you can reach out to me on Facebook Messenger. Look for Elect John Martinez or John Martinez for City Council. You can also text me on my cell phone. My cell phone number is 361-658-9848. So if you have any questions or comments or would like to discuss any issues further, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
You bet.